Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Welcome in to tonight's live stream with CT, your host. Great to be with you as always. You thought we weren't going to come on tonight, man, and talk about this precious Achua news, right? Here we are. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's get your thoughts out here. I got to unload and get a lot of things off my mind. All the things that I'm thinking about with this news. Unfortunately, Precious Achua set to miss up to 4 weeks, right? We'll reevaluate it in 2 to 4 weeks to start the season, right? What does it mean for the rotation, right? What are we going to look like versus Boston, right? What's the backup plans? All of those things. Of course, the roster news. We'll talk about that. The Knicks currently at 12 roster spots with 3 two-way players. Is there another move coming down the pipe? What is the plan for Leon Rose and the front office as well? Let's shout out the chat and get your thoughts out here. Salute to everyone out here. Salute to the community. Replay squad shout out as well. Great to have you with us, guys. Salute. And I hope you're having a blessed weekend. Shout out to the Yankees and Yankee fans alike, and the Mets as well. Hopefully things can come good there as well if you're a Mets fan. But the Liberty tonight, shout out, deciding ball game, man. So shout out to the Liberty fans alike. But Sandman, Prezi, Julian, what's up? Huck Porty Hives in the building, and Pacome Daddy fans as well. Right, rookies are going to get their chance, man. We're going to talk about that a lot tonight, fam, after we've broken down the latest news as well, right? Get your questions in, your comments. How are you feeling, man? Right, I'm not going to let this cloud my hype to start the season, right? First and foremost, before we get into it and dive into the nitty gritty, man, I'm still as hyped as ever heading into this season. Yes, there's going to be bumps along the way. I knew that already, but I didn't feel like there were going to be this many bumps, this early. But you know what? Iron sharpens iron. Adversity builds strength. And so, from the coach to the front office, the roster building, the players, all of these things, man, everyone's going to be put to the test early, man, and guys are going to have to step up in a major way, just like they did in the postseason last year as well. But I think we've got a lot of leaders. We've got some great players, obviously, and they've been through this before, and I don't think this is going to be any different, right? One door opens for another player, right? As Precious Achua set to miss or reevaluate. I think that's key to note, guys. It don't necessarily mean that Precious is going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. It might be longer than that, but it might be less. Reevaluated in 2 to 4 weeks means that's the expected timetable. People can rehabilitate faster and all of those things. And, we wish him well on his recovery. Prayers up. It's nothing major, which is, I guess, a silver lining in it. 2 to 4 weeks ain't a huge amount of time. It's just inconvenient, really, to start the season out. And same with the Landry Shamet one, man. Just really unfortunate timing as we get into the questions that lie ahead, right? Who's going to play, right? I'm going to give you my percentages on who I think is next in line as well, and we're going to do that with the graphics tonight. But shout out to the chat, guys. I see you, and shout out Replay Squad as well. Do us a favor and smash that like button on the show if you enjoy it. Appreciate you, and join the community. Subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Right, speak your piece on this situation. Right, we shout you guys out, but you can also vote on your player standout from preseason. Right, Deuce McBride did sit out the final preseason game. Right? I think that was a good decision. Keep him ready and fresh because we're going to need all the bodies that we can get, right? So with that said, I feel like, Deuce McBride, man, he's a lock, right, to be the sixth man, or he might even start. And I'm going to get into that soon as we go probably an hour tonight, maybe even longer, fam. I'm just jumping on before the Liberty game as well, so that everyone can dive into that if they want to, and also check us out live. Sandman says Pacome's going to be great. And Julian Blum says the Knicks should be out by January, hopefully. Not sure what you mean by that, fam. Just elaborate a bit. But yeah, you also say bring in the Huck. Salute CT. Yeah, I think Huck Porty's going to get a chance. And without further ado, I feel like the chance of Jericho Sims playing now in the absence of Pacome Precious Achua, sorry, is 100%, right? So I'm going to bring up the tick for Jericho Sims, right? For better or for worse, I think Tibbs, obviously you need to trust your players. You need to give them that confidence. I think Sims can play better with confidence. He's a confidence kind of player. I think, yes, we all know his shortcomings. I think if you don't trust the player, or you have that quick hook, they can lose confidence real quick, right? So it's a brand new season for Jericho. I think he's going to get a first shot, that first chance, with all his experience and tenure with the ball club, and I can't be mad at that. It's hard to put, experienced player, you know, down the pecking order a bit further. You give him the first chance, but we'll see if Tibbs is, going to switch things up if things don't go too well, right? Also, outside of those two, right, Cameron Payne is an obvious, situation, an obvious lock to get plenty of minutes, right? Right now, with Precious out, those three guys I can guarantee will see minutes, very early in the season, and quite likely on opening night, man, versus Boston. And this is where things get really interesting. Let us know your thoughts, guys. What's up, New Lord and Daniel Berry in the house? What's up? We'll talk about, and Wilson. We'll talk about, the jump shot of Mikal Bridges, tonight. So I'd love to get your thoughts on that as well. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to go through a whole host of topics. What I want to get on is, or get into Jalen Brunson's quotes on Josh Hart's comments about coming off the bench. I kind of alluded to it last night about Brunson needing to be that leader, and get guys involved in the starting five. So Brunson made some great quotes regarding his leadership and getting guys, in sync better. I'm also going to hit on how important that the GMing, front office scouting work that the New York Knicks have done is going to, be even further important with these, early injuries to start the season, right? Then we're going to talk about Tibbs' adjustment, right? Hart, is there a chance Hart goes back to the bench? Is there a chance that Deuce goes into the starting lineup just for this stretch while Precious is going to be out? Also going to talk about a line on rookies playing earlier. Everyone wants to focus on, but they're not ready. There's going to be defensive concerns. Absolutely. There is pros and there is cons to rookies playing early. But I also want to talk about the pros, because I feel like rookies playing earlier, there's a silver lining to that and getting that experience early in the season. And then I guess towards tonight's show, we're going to focus more on the start of the season, the baptism by fire against Boston, Indiana, Miami, and Cleveland as well. I want to focus on that a bit more specifically as well. What's up, Keyshawn? And Wilson says, I'd rather see Hakpority than Sims out there. That's where I'm about to head right now, fam. So this isn't my preference. This is just what I think is going to happen on opening night. And I'll be surprised if Sims don't get minutes at least. Deuce, we know. And obviously Cameron Payne, right? But this is where, you guys let me know what you want to see. But you could go a multitude of different ways if you're Tibbs right now. It's tough to read. It really is, right? I've gone back and forth on it, right? But obviously, I'll make the case for each one tonight because I'm a fan of all these guys, and you can make a case for who's going to get extra minutes, right? Pacome Dadier, right? He saw major minutes, against Washington in the full dress rehearsal. Was that just to get a look because Landry Shamet is out? Was that Tibbs, still up in the air making decisions, right? I think he made a good case for himself, went 2 of 3 from deep. Missed a couple of defensive rotations, of course, but I think the fact that he shot the ball well, I think there's a significant chance Pacome Dadier sees real minutes from opening night, right? So I'm going to put it, at a 70% chance. I'm going to put it as high as 70 that Pacome Dadier sees minutes early in the season. Maybe not Boston, but during this period where Precious and Shaman are out, at least for the first 2 to 4 weeks as well. And Damien just asking in the chat, Precious is going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks at least. So that's why Sims is going to play. and quite frankly, I would play Huck Porty as well. But I don't think he's next in line. I think he's a shot. I'll talk about the percentage that I think that Huck Porty is going to play, but I'm going to go down the order of likeliness. And I think between Tyler Kolek and Pacome Dadier, I think there's a 70% chance that either of those two play. Fam. So if I had to guess, if Tibbs is going 10 men while Precious is out, that's the 10 men. Huck Porty could be the 10th guy if Kolek or Payne don't get those minutes right now. And I think there's a 70% chance we'll see Kolek or Dadier get some minutes. I just can't read into which way Tibbs is going to go. Right? He could leave Dadier out and go maybe Deuce with the starting lineup, put Hart to the bench, and that way you can play Kolek and Payne because you've got that wing in Josh Hart. You've got a bit more size. Or it could be Mikal Bridges. Or he could say, look, Cameron Payne's been really solid. I like Tyler Kolek, but not right now. It's Pacome Dadier. The shooting, the wing length, the size is there as well. Or he could surprise us all, man. He could play both of them. And there's silver lining to that because also they're going to get that great experience, next man up kind of thing. I guess it's early in the season, so why you got to be scared playing players, see what they got. Baptism by fire, like I say. And then last but not least, right, I think there's a 50% chance that Ariel Huck Porty will see minutes, man. It's 50-50, honestly. I think it could go either way. I think there's a 100% chance Sims gets those minutes early. And I think there's a 50% chance that the Huckamania, Huck Hive, is in the house, man. I call him the Big Apple. The Big Ariel on that one. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that, guys? Salute. Also give us your thoughts on, the tough blow that Precious is going to be out for at least 4 weeks. That could be up to 10 games. And the season's starting really tough too. Salute, coach, and buzzer beater in the house. We've got all our regulars here. Will, what's up? Shout out to the Liberty. Hopefully they can get it done tonight for the City. We already know the Yankees did their business as well. Shout out to Yankee Nation. Joseph says the job is to keep the team healthy for the playoffs. Absolutely. That is key, and a great point about extending the rotation, keeping guys more fresh, right? Look, if it was up to me, I would at least go 10 men to start the season, right? That way guys are ready, they're suited and booted. If a guy gets in foul trouble, the other guy doesn't have to just jump off the bench, surprised, and just thrown into the fire. If I were Tibbs, I would say in the locker room and prepare everybody and say, look, we're short of bodies. Be ready. The game could go a different way. The game could be getting out of hand early. We might need the next man up to step up and take on a new role, right? And that is going to be a huge silver lining, right? Just to throw this out there as well, like I said, there's a chance that this thing could be switched up. What do you guys think about this? Enter Josh Hart. Right, we're going to talk about the quotes he made and also the quotes that Brunson made about Hart's quotes about coming off the bench, right? I'd be more on the surprise side if Tibbs switches things up before a game is even played, but I won't be shocked. The reason is because I think that Tibbs absolutely trusts Deuce McBride and believes in him playing with the starters. He believes in him being effective next to Jalen Brunson, and he believes that he'll be the best chance of helping him win, or a great chance of helping him win the ball game as well. And of course, he knows that Hart can bring that energy and the rebounding as well with the starters or the bench as well. So let us know your thoughts on that. Do you think Hart starts, or do you think Hart could be that sixth man and replace Deuce, with Deuce coming into the starting lineup as well? These are my most likely scenarios. I think it's probably slightly likely that Hart stays with the starters and they figure it out, because I think, they don't want to shake up the locker room too much early, see what it looks like against Boston, and then maybe make a change up. But if they do make a change up, I think it'll be directly related to Shamit being out and Precious being out. I think you just have to adjust to what's thrown at you. You just got to adjust to the and take the bumps as they come. Will says salute Knicks Nation. I think there's a chance we see Kolek and Dadier against Boston. Most definitely, man. I think there's a 70% chance that at least one of them plays. I just can't decide if he's going to pick only one. I just can't choose, which one it's going to be, because I think that Kolek has brought that experience. He looks very calm, cool, collected out there. But I also feel like Pacome Dadier gives you that like for swap for Shamit, and with Precious being out, he gives you that bit of extra size as well. And of course, there's a good chance he plays both, man. So let me just switch that back, and I do feel like that Deuce McBride is still most likely being the sixth man. And if I had to narrow it down, I'm going to probably assume that Kolek and Hakpority, if he's only going 9, and this is if he's only going 9. If he's going 10, it's Kolek. But if he's only going 9, it'll be Deuce, Cameron Payne, Jericho Sims, and I think Pacome Dadier. Just something's telling me that Pacome Dadier is just going to get a shot. He's just going to get a shot early. What do you guys think about that? I think the shooting and the size is legit. What's up, Abdul? Says Ariel is much more active in general than Sims, and also asks, is there a possibility we can sign Marcus Morris right now? Absolutely, there is. So I'm glad you went there. As we've done talking about that, and I think the likeliness of what we're going to see, we'll continue talking about that tonight. But just leading into that, the New York Knicks have basically finalized their roster by announcing it to the world. So there still is a possibility, I think, within the next couple of weeks that they'll make a change, but not before opening night. I think things are set right now, and these are your 12 guys, man. The guys that we just looked at on the screen. So I kind of looked at this with a raised eyebrow because, the Knicks were kind of saying, hey, this is it for now. We're not making another move right now. This is the roster, and that's including the 3 two-ways with Jake Toppin. Tibbs could surprise us in the future, because he's versatile. He could play a bit of 3, a bit of 4. Can Jake Toppin, although he's further down the pecking order because he hasn't played in preseason, right? And then Kevin McCullough is still rehabbing, so he's not going to be active anytime soon. We'll see what happens with that, right? So we'll hear from what the Knicks beat are saying. James Edwards says on that note, I've been under the impression that while they like Shamit and hope he's able to recover sooner rather than later, they were going to move forward, at least in the short term, if a player they liked popped up. Like Abdul said, there was some rumors that, the Knicks organization and there was a lot of hype around Marcus Morris and bringing him back. But I'm kind of surprised they haven't acted quickly, They got Lonnie Walker still available. They got Marcus Morris, and TJ Warren is actually going to go to Westchester. So he's not going to be able to play for the Knicks right now. I think it's all a bit of cap saving mechanics in terms of the Knicks just maybe going a couple of weeks just to avoid paying extra tax. And I think this is telling as well, guys. You see this tweet coming out. The reason why I think Jericho Sims is 100% playing is you've got him, practicing against, Cat. You got him going up against Cat. You've also got Kolek here, and you've got Josh Hart. So this was fresh from practice today. Looks like we've got Ariel Hakporty in the background in that one, in the grey. So we've got Ariel Hakporty in the grey. We've got Tyler Kolek in the grey, the backups, and Jericho Sims. Also, what's key, a telling quote from Tibbs is he said, it's key that I set on my rotation. So Tibbs, he loves to settle on a rotation and not leave things up to guessing with the players. But what he says is, everyone got to stay ready. So literally, there's a chance everyone could see minutes. Sims could get in foul trouble. If one player picks up a little injury or a tweak, has to go to the bench, the next guy has to jump up. We are so short on bodies right now. But again, there's a silver lining to these rookies getting that baptism by fire. Your best bet says an injury to a backup should not be a major problem for a team that's supposed to be a contender. Yeah, I agree with you, but I've talked about the concerns about the Knicks only being able to sign 14 players. I think eventually they're going to make a trade, and eventually they're going to try to get 15 bodies on this roster, right? I don't know if it's going to be Mitch. I don't know if it's going to be somebody else, right? But I'll close to bet my house that there will be an in-season trade so that they can get their salary down and be able to sign 15 guys, right? You need more bodies to be able to contend. So I think that's a good solution. The concern early is as well is some of these two-ways can only play 40 days as well. So Buzzer, a two-way player can play basically 40 something games. 40 something games. So the games only count if they're suited on the bench, right? If they're not on the bench, it doesn't count as an official day. Even if they don't play, if they're suited on the bench, it still counts. It still actually counts as a day. So the Knicks, the clock is ticking on Ariel Hukporti's, two-way days of being able to actually play. But I don't think that's going to be a concern because I think they are going to convert Ariel Hukporti to a real roster spot at some point because financially they have to. So the Knicks being at 12 bodies, they actually have to sign 2 more players eventually in the next 2 weeks. They can only go 2 more weeks being under the 14-player quota. New Lord feels like it's Jake Toppin or Kevin McCullough getting signed. I'd be surprised, man. I'd be surprised. I think Kevin McCullough, if he was healthier, I think would have a good shot at getting it. Shams did confirm yesterday that the Knicks will likely maintain these 12 roster players only and look to bring Shamet back once he recovers. So the Knicks' plans could be, let's keep it at 12. Let's just wait 2 weeks, save some money. And then if Shamet, we get 2 more weeks to see if Shamet's rehab is progressing. And then we can further, evaluate. We can be flexible. We could just bring Shamet back and just wait till he's healthy. These 12 roster players, I'm not reading too much into it because they do have to add 2 more players eventually, right? I do think one of them will be Ariel Hukporti, and I do think the other one is going to be a veteran. Whether I feel like it's going to be Marcus Morris, I just have a feeling with Precious being out that you just can't run the gauntlet. With the lack of big men right now, and I don't have that much trust in Jericho playing huge minutes. I think he's okay playing 8 to 12 minutes. Like he could pull rebounds down. He can switch on defense. I'm not going to act like Jericho is bad all the time. If you're obviously playing against great teams and you want to win a championship deep in the postseason, I don't trust him. And Ariel Hukporti is still really young. Got to see him more as well. Precious was our best reliable backup right now before Mitch gets back healthy too. And so Marcus Morris makes the world of sense for me. So I feel like, together with the smoke, I think there's fire. I think Marcus Morris could be a name. Maybe they wait these 2 weeks, see how things look, see how the rehab is going for Landry, and then they might look to bring Marcus Morris back. But let us know your thoughts on that, guys. Buzzer says, can Matt Ryan play any defense? He can make a shot. Does he get dimes? I haven't seen him much, to be honest. I do know he's got a really sound shot. He's reliable from shooting. I just don't know if the Knicks are going to go that route. I do think they're going to try to get Landry Shamet back as soon as possible, fam, or sign a veteran who's stable, who's a bit more productive with a Landry, with a Lonnie Walker, or a Mook Morris. What are your thoughts on that? Um, Prezi says rookies usually need to focus on getting coffee donuts, carry the bags. Hey, it's a new age, man. Yeah, things have changed around the league, but yeah, this cap, the aprons and all of the financial restrictions on these teams, things have changed a lot, man. And it goes all the way back to draft night when a lot of eyebrows were raised when the Knicks drafted Pacome Dadier, who most people thought was a stash, right? And people were thinking, man, aren't the New York Knicks supposed to contend? Why are they selecting a player for the first pick that they have that's supposed to be a stash? Well, now things make a lot more sense. Dadier took the 80% cut of the rookie contract, to help the Knicks financially. And hey, it doesn't hurt that he could actually play. And so here we are. Pacome Dadier, Hive, stand up. I think there's a 70% chance he plays opening night in the rotation. And I also think it's between him or Tyler Kolek for that ninth guy. But I think Deuce Sims and Cameron Payne are those other guys that are a lock, fam. And if I have to pick one, I'm going to go Pacome Dadier right now. Maybe he goes 10 men and he even throws Tyler Kolek out there as well. Let us know your thoughts on that. But hey, to that silver lining point, man, we may as well hit on that first right now. Because our bench and our depth is so shallow, at some point this season, they were going to have to see time. They were going to have to see minutes, right? It was inevitable, right? There's a chance that other guys go down. OG Anunoby never plays 82 games. None of these other guys play 82 games. So the silver lining for these rookies to see minutes early is the fact that they're going to get more experience. They're going to be ready, or they're going to be more ready as the season progresses, I feel, and getting a taste, right? Hopefully it's a great story, where their confidence gets up. We all know when rookies can get great confidence, sometimes they just, take that opportunity and they show that they're ready, right? It doesn't hurt that we have a guy like a Tyler Kolek that's like your quarterback, Big East player in college, built for the big stage, played at MSG in big tournaments, loves the spotlight. We saw it against summer league teams. We saw it against Washington, when he hit a couple of go-ahead buckets, right? He's not scared and he's not worried. And if I'm coaching this team, I wouldn't have any, well, I wouldn't say any, but I wouldn't hesitate to throw the kid out there. What have you got to lose? We don't have any other options, right? They're either gonna sink or they're gonna swim right now. And I also feel the same about Ariel Hukporti. In case you're wondering, I feel like he could give you, 8 to 10 minutes, 12 minutes. That's not going to hurt. Pacome Dadier, I think the same. I think he could give you, 10 minutes. Against Boston, obviously it's going to be the toughest competition. Things might not look great, and then you just, pull him, and then you switch it up with the starters a little. Shesvi says Kolek is going to get a lot of minutes this season, in my opinion, more than we think. Yeah, you're warm on that, man. I think you're absolutely warm on that. Regular Joe's in the house, 718 Fresh. Let us know your thoughts. Who's going to get minutes? Fam, we're chopping it up with the best chat in the biz. Got over 100 people in the chat rocking with us. Salute to Knicks Nation. Smash that like button. This season's going to be incredible, man. It's going to be crazy. But baptism by fire to start the year, man. Little injuries. It's unfortunate, but what can you do? Right? What can you do? So I talked about the silver lining about these rookies playing earlier. Now I want to hit on the point I made that I said I was going to talk about with the GM, front office, and scouting departments become major. Major decisions have to be made and have been made to help this team, right? And that could be what decides players winning, teams winning a championship. People think it's all on the basketball court, players putting the ball in the cup. But it's so much more than that. To win an NBA championship, all the work is, involved with everybody, from draft night from the months and the years scouting talent and trusting in your scouts, right? So this is where the New York Knicks are really their scouts are gonna really earn their money. Tom Thibodeau is gonna earn his money, Leon Rose, because, right, it's, yes, you have to win the games on the court, but right now with injuries, this happens to all teams around the NBA, right? Kristaps Porzingis, he's not healthy to start the season. Paul George, Joel, you know, problems in LA with the Clippers, um, injury concerns to a whole heap of teams right now, and so everyone's depth is going to get pushed, you know, and so have the New York Knicks got what it takes, right? As these rookies go, we're going to find out, man. But I like what the Knicks scouts did. I like the draft. I think guys are more ready than people anticipated early, but we're really going to get to find out, right? How legit is Pacome Dadier, with real NBA minutes? How quickly can he acclimate, against good competition? Tyler Kolek, is he going to get abused defensively? Often are they going to go at him and try to take advantage of that, just like Johnny Davis did against Washington, when they hit the go-ahead bucket? And then obviously, we're light with the big men, so is Ariel Hukporti, is he really going to be able to stand up, take this chance as a big? I know all the work and the scouting that was done with selecting Ariel, and feeling like he's more ready as a center depth option. So I feel like, the Knicks scouts, GMing, all of these decisions being made are ultimately what's going to decide whether the Knicks can get it done. 718 says PED needs minutes. Mr. Lee says no Mitch, no Precious. Big minutes coming for Hukporti. Absolutely. Right. I think Kevin McCullough is a solid option when he's healthy as well. We haven't seen him yet, but he's one of the more ready-made rookies as well. So we'll see. But the Knicks have options. Obviously, if things get dire, they must sign someone. I think being a rookie, right? Even if you want to bring Shamet back later, I got no problems with that. But at least sign Lonnie Walker, at least sign Marcus Morris, to help us out. But again, 2 to 4 weeks ain't the worst thing for Precious, right? If these other guys can step up. Next up, let's hit on the Mikal Bridges situation. Abdul says thoughts on Mikal's shooting, right? That's the hot topic right now, and so let's talk about it, right? So he shot the ball well in practice, right? And so I think it's less than ideal. It really is, man. I think obviously, preseason's just preseason, and I hope that these struggles don't continue. However, it would be optimistic to think that he's just going to, click and just change it up based on what we've seen in preseason. So what I want to see is I just want to see, as I bring this up, this is a great thread. We can take a look at Mikal Bridges' jump shot. When he shot 42% in the 2021 season, guys, this is what Bridges' shot looks like. A quicker release, none of that hitch. It looks a lot smoother for me. But why has he decided to try to change his shot up? Well, players like to feel comfortable. Sometimes they just feel like their shot can be better. There's that saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But players, they like to just keep working on their craft. It's always a good thing if you're a gym junkie and you live in the gym. But I think there's a real situation where, you can overthink it. And I think that's probably what Mikal Bridges has done. He's just overthought it, right? I mean, you're a career 38, 40% shooter. Just don't tweak anything major. Just maybe do a couple of small things. But here we are, fam. And he has to get it right real quick. I'm confident long term. I don't think this is going to be a thing that lingers too long. I mean, even on your worst day, you can't keep going 0 of 10, from deep. So I think we're at rock bottom, really, with Mikal Bridges, and the only way is to, go back up, really. also want to bring this up too. So yeah, this was Bridges in training camp as well in Charleston, South Carolina, right before the season even began. Right, the jump shot still had that little hitch, but yeah, he was sinking them in that one. So yeah, he's a pro. He's experienced. I expect him to get it right, but yeah, it's less than ideal, and there'll be a world of scrutiny with Mikal Bridges when it comes to opening night. Bam. J Dragon, what's up? Says good thing we have Sims. Yeah, we're going to need all of our guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing who steps up, takes the opportunity. Buzzer says, what's the deal with Jake Toppin? He's just not great. I think that's just where it's at. Tibbs doesn't seem prepared to trust him at the moment. He's a young player still developing. He's most likely going to play a lot with Westchester too, fam. But yeah, he's on a two-way. It's the final year of his two-way eligibility as well. So you can only have 4 years of pro experience before being ineligible to be on a two-way. So I see a lot of people saying, why don't we put Moses Brown? Why don't we put Skapinsev? Some of these other guys. I think there's a restriction on what the Knicks can do with the final two-way spot, right? But right now we have our two-ways. With that said, so yeah, we've seen Mikal Bridges' jump shot, guys. Now I want to hit on, let's talk about the quotes that Josh Hart made, and should we put him to the bench? Should we put Deuce Miles McBride in the starting lineup? I think it's incredible that I emphasize the leadership of Brunson with the starting five. And here we are. Brunson comes out and he makes these quotes addressing his brother, his podcast Villanova brother, Josh Hart. Right. Jalen Brunson is the leader, the coach on the court, the extension of the coach. And this is what JB had to say. Right. Brunson says, from my point of view, I just feel like we need to be better as teammates to make sure that we're all on the same page, or we're all giving each other confidence regardless. That starts with me, says JB. When asked about it, he said he faulted himself for not being the leader and teammate, a better leader and the teammate. What are your thoughts on that? I love that accountability. That's the captain stepping up and letting everyone know that we just have to be better as a unit, right? We got the good passes. Cat can move the ball really quickly. The ball doesn't stick. So I think that's a silver lining. The ball just has to keep moving, find the open shooter, and the shooter just shoot. So I'm looking forward to us breaking out of a little funk against Boston. Like, how incredible would that be if we come out and we shoot 38, 40% from three as a team on opening night, right? And maybe that is the catalyst to get Deuce Miles McBride in the starting unit, and let Bridges add some size to the bench because Precious is out. Fresh says Mikal needs to show up. Yeah. Kiniora, what's up, says Huck going to get the roster spot now with Precious down. I think so, man. I think he was going to get it anyway. I think we have to sign one veteran and one rookie contract in order to avoid, the going over the second apron as well. Yeah, what happens with Mitch is going to be fascinating. New Lord says we need to trade Mitch. I think financially, there's a lot of reasons to look into that. But, I'll talk about that more as the season goes. I think Mitch can still be a huge factor on the court, when he gets healthy. Travel Vibes, salute. What's up? What's up? Mikal is straight, says Travel Vibes. What's up, Danny? Do you think we gave up too many picks for Bridges? I think the number of picks, you could argue that, there was maybe one too many. But I'm not worried from the point where those picks aren't very valuable because the Knicks are going to be really good, or the Knicks are going to be, that those picks are going to be in the high 20s. And one of the 5 picks, I think everyone wants to emphasize 5. I think one of those picks was the heavily protected Milwaukee pick as well. So it's not really going to hurt us long term, man. When you need to win a championship, you have to go all in, right? Holding on to these draft picks when you're a veteran team, and you're trying to win right now, I don't think it was really going to help us. I think we got the players we felt like we need. Now we just need to go out there and handle our business, right? The beautiful thing is when you go all in, there's no more excuses. You can't say, oh, but we're trying to get this guy. We're trying to still build. I don't think we can we can talk about that this season, right? Leon Rose decided he feels like these are the players that can win a championship. He feels like it, and the players got to believe it. The players will believe it. They're confident. They just have to go out there and show it. Right now, they're all big time players for the moment. They're all earning big time money. I think there's no excuses right now. I would prefer not to talk about the trades throughout the season and the picks and all of that, because there is going to be a lot of hindsight. But the players just have to go out there and I think and handle their business. Old Boy says Precious getting injured wasn't a surprise. Playing your first big man off a weak bench, the most minutes in preseason, was not a smart move from Tibbs. Yeah, I think he wants to get guys ready. You could still argue the point that he did overplay Precious a little bit in the second halves of these games, but yeah, again, it's an injury can happen at any time as well. So it's tough, man. Will says Bridges is a solid shooter his whole career. I'm thinking that he figures things out. Yeah, most definitely, man. Whether it's he goes to the bench a little more or Hart goes to the bench, I think this Precious and Shamet injury has given Tibbs an opportunity to tinker a little bit, fam. I'm not going to lie, right? I wouldn't mind if Hart comes off the bench, induces that sniper with the starting unit. I would completely understand if Tibbs goes that way, right? Not sure of any update on Mitch, fam. Assuming that he's rehabbing really well. He hasn't been on the bench, but he might be just focusing on the rehab, all of those things. He could be like that trade deadline acquisition pickup. But look, right now Precious is out, but I don't feel that bad about our depth. Precious isn't going to be out for that long. Hopefully it ain't longer than 4 weeks. But the day he got drafted, I was singing the praises of Ariel Hukporti, saying that I know he's ready for rotation minutes. Now, I wasn't saying 25 minutes. I wasn't saying 20 to start, but we're going to find out. He should be good for 8 to 12 minutes. I think Sims is going to have to play a ton, but you're going to have to lean into OG now and Cat for this smaller stretch too. Buzzabita says, with a super chat, thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate the contributions, man. Let's get it. Always got the streets buzzing. My man Buzzabita says, can you show the shot chart for Mikal Bridges and for Cat? Most definitely, fam. But are you talking about career shot chart? Are you talking about postseason? Are you talking about last season only? Or are you talking about preseason? Just let me know, and I'll work to get that up as we continue buzzing tonight. Nick P says Mitch needs minutes. Mitch needs to go so we can balance out our roster. Okay, I hear you, man. I hear you on that. Yeah, we've got to get to the 15 guys. I feel like something is inevitable. It might not be Mitch, right? I won't rule anything out. So yeah, the chat's a bit delayed on my end, so just be patient. I'll try to get to as many of your questions, comments as I can, but I appreciate you, man. Appreciate the buzz coming through. 8 pieces, we could have used Scap and Sev on that one. I see the depth that he would provide, but the reason why I don't think, and I've kept saying this, the reason why I don't think the Knicks have looked into bringing Scap and Sev in is because I don't think he's a Tibbs kind of center. When you look at all these centers we have, they all have a couple of things in common, and they're all the things that Tibbs needs. They're rugged, they rebound, and they're a bit more physical. I don't think Scap and Sev kind of tick those boxes, fam. But he does have some game. I'll give him that. He does have a little bit of a touch around the basket. Prezi says Shamit and Hukporty will be in the final 14. Yeah, I think you're hot with that. I think Hukporty will have to be, or McCullough, one of those two-way guys. Obviously, Hukporty should get the edge, fam, because he's had serious minutes, but he can also play, he can play with the best of them too. So we'll see what happens, man. I won't be surprised if he gets minutes early, but I do know that Jericho Sims is going to get that first chance, right? That's not my preference. That's just what I think is going to play out. We got some trade Daniel Jones chats as well, fam. Yeah, man, tough. I'm a Giants fan. We talked to John Schmelk of the Giants on our show a lot, friend of the show. Shout out to Big Blue Nation, man. It's tough right now. It really is. Right, they've got to do something. They've got to switch things up. New Lord says Bridges off the bench would put a fire under Bridges. Yeah, I won't be mad at that. I think a lot of these guys have to buy into what the ultimate goal is. The ultimate goal isn't to inflate a player's salary. It's not to make a player feel good or worry about their feelings. The goal right now is to win an NBA championship. And these players should be fully bought in into whatever the coach needs, man. Whatever their role should be, fam. And I know these are rough riders. They'll get down. Hart says, if you need me for 40, I'll play 40. But yeah, these guys are going to get put to the test, man. No doubt about it. But the silver lining, like I continue to say, is we're going to find out how real these guys are. We might find out that Pacome Daddier is a real NBA rotation player right away. And that will be awesome, man. You won't find anybody happier than me if we find that out. Same with Ariel Hukporty and same with Tyler Kolek, right? If we find out that these guys are NBA players from the beginning, that'll be awesome, man. The Knicks solved a lot of headaches regarding that. But obviously, I think spot minutes early. Go easy on the kids, man. It could be a blow to their confidence if it goes the other way. AP says, hey CT, looking back on it at the same draft, KP and Towns, who turned out to be the better player? That's a great question, man. I think ultimately affecting their team's chances of winning, I think Karl Anthony Towns gets the nod. I think Kristaps hasn't stayed healthy enough, but I think you could argue that if you just had to choose one particular game, KP can be that player for that game, like he did for Boston, in the NBA Finals with that. So yeah, let's keep going, man. Let's check if I've missed anything regarding the latest news. But yeah, I do think this is telling. The Knicks announcing their roster. It's 12 players right now with the two-ways. I think, look, Kevin McCullough might be close to returning. I think that'll be a nice boost. Maybe the Knicks feel good about that, and we don't know. That could contribute. Maybe Tibbs is thinking like he's okay for now. He's going to play Sims, Hukporty, and the others. Also, maybe they feel like just a couple of weeks and then they're going to get Shamit back on the roster. So that could be the reason why they're going with this 12 men. But in training right now today, Jericho Sims was in the grey bench, jerseys, along with Tyler Kolek. And here you see Ariel Hukporty in the background, I think seated on the bench there in the grey as well. Right, so look, everyone's going to have to be ready and stay active, fam. They're going to have to get ready. Baptism by fire, too. But meanwhile, there's still some fresh faces out there. Landry Shamet, Marcus Morris, man. I won't lie. I want one of these guys to get picked up just to give us that little bit of insurance. The New York Knicks can offer them an unguaranteed contract. And that way they can waive them before January and it won't hurt them going over the cap. So there is options. So yeah, I'm kind of a little miffed as to why the Knicks haven't at least just brought an extra body in. It felt like today would have been the day to do it and get them in practice. So I feel like it looks like they won't do that before Tuesday hits. Let's get it, everyone buzzing. By Buzzer says, just to clarify, I meant this preseason versus career shot charts. Are they taking the same kind of shots? Right. Yeah, great question, man. Great question. And thanks for the clarification on that. Yeah, I'll see if I can pull that up while we're going live. But obviously, we know the percentages. Yeah, Mikal Bridges is shooting well below what he's doing as well. So let's see if we can get that up while we continue buzzing with the chat. Smash that like button, guys, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Great to have you with us. Salute, salute. How's your weekend going? The Liberty game is going to start in 30 minutes. We've got the Yankees in the World Series for the first time since '09, man. And then obviously the Mets have had an incredible season, right? But the Dodgers, right, are standing in their way right now. Look, Mikal Bridges changing his shot form is not ideal. But these players, that man, they're perfectionists. And sometimes if they feel like they can make something better, they'll keep doing it. You know, I mentioned being gym rats, right? And I mentioned, you know, them wanting to, focus on their craft. You know, they're professionals, being in the gym 24/7, right? So, you know, that is something to really look into when it comes to why he changed it up. So yeah, I'm just trying to get those shot charts up. We'll see if we can get that up, Buzzer. But if not, I promise we'll bring it up in the next show. Damien, what's up? Says, would you sign Walker or Morris? Man, either. Absolutely either. Either or. But if I had to pick one, I would probably sign Marcus Morris right now, just because of the Precious injury, you know. Old Boy says, benching a player that you traded 5 first-round picks for is never going to happen. Maybe later in the season, possibly, but yeah, it's doubtful, man. Like you said, I do think that Josh Hart, you know, and shout out to Hart for his leadership, because, like, you know, yes, some people don't like the fact that he's very honest and candid and open, but he speaks the truth. He speaks his mind, and he's a team player. You know, if he feels like it could help the team coming off the bench just to figure things out, um, you know, I respect Hart, you know, for saying that. But at the same time, if I'm actually the coach of this ball club right now, I'm just keeping things as they are, man, and I bring Deuce back to the bench, and Deuce is my sixth man, right? We haven't even played a game yet, so why shake things up? You know, you're just going to cause a whole heap of, you know, maybe even further, and disconnect everybody by switching things up without even playing one ball game, right? So see what it looks like against the best team in the NBA, the favorites, and then you can make a decision. You know, then you can make a call about it. But right now, Deuce coming off the bench gives the Knicks a huge spark, right? So I wouldn't mess with that yet. But boy, would I look into it if Boston, yeah, if things don't look great. Uh, what's up, Connor? It says Dadier got slower feet on D, but he's got that good European style offense. Appreciate that comment. I need to see more, honestly, to make a better evaluation. But yeah, defensively, I think he needs to react a bit quicker. He did get blown by a little, but I like his length. I like his activity. What's up, G-Man? Salute. We can't sign any 10-day contracts, unfortunately. So yeah, that's a great question, and a lot of people have thought, why can't we just add a 10-day? So the NBA doesn't allow any team to sign 10 days until some point in December. I think it's halfway through the season or so. Then 10 days become available for everyone. Travel vibes. Who's going to the Westchester Knicks so far? TJ Warren, man, and Moses Brown. Salute to Moses Brown as well. So Westchester's going to be great. Those guys, you know, Warren's going to try to work his way back into the NBA, whether it be with the Knicks or somebody else, but he's going to get plenty of minutes with Westchester, man, and so is Moses Brown, who we could still sign if we needed. Gee, man, says maybe the French rook showed them enough to not pick up another body, CT. I like that, man. I like that. I think that's realistic for now. But I think it's probably closer to connected to Landry Shamet. I feel like Tibbs probably said, look, or Leon's probably thinking, look, man, we love Landry's fit. You know, a lot of Knicks Nation got respect for Landry Shamet now after what we saw. And I feel like Landry, that we might just be keeping the seat warm for him. Keeping the spot available for him to come back. And then, like you said, maybe the rookies, we're just going to throw them out there. And that's why I spoke on the point I made earlier, right? If you missed it, earlier in the show, I said trusting in your scouting and the GM and the decisions the front office make can ultimately decide whether you win the championship or not, right? All these moves matter, fam. Everything matters when it comes to a season. But getting the right draft picks, getting these right guys, man, it could be a stroke of genius. It could be the difference between us staying afloat while guys get back healthy right now. I mean, most of us, we love the Tyler Kolek pickup. He's ready to play some spot minutes, maybe more than that. But not as many people were familiar with Ariel Huck-Porty. But the Knicks put in a lot of work scouting him, man. Walt Perrin, as I reported back in January, I tweeted it out. He traveled to Australia with other Knicks scouts. They got busy scouting Ariel Huck-Porty. He was on the draft scouts' radars for multiple years. Was a FIBA player for Germany, playing together with Franz Wagner and some of those German teams in the FIBA under 17s, under 19s. Ariel Huck-Porty didn't just pop up out of the blue. People knew about him. He suffered an Achilles injury, and that kind of set him back a bit, and he missed the draft cycle. But people knew what he's capable of, and the Knicks scouted him, and they picked up a steal with the 58th pick, right? To get those other centers that were eyeing, Zach Edey, and that would have required getting traded up. Khalil Ware, Adem Bona, Deron Holmes, a lot of these other centers, the Knicks probably felt like, hey, Ariel Huck-Porty can help us right now. Let's go get him with the 58th pick. So, man, there's a lot of praise that needs to go their way if this thing works out, right? I feel like Dadier was more of a flyer for the future, right? I think they like his game, but maybe they don't know if he's ready right away. But maybe he's surprised everybody. You can never count out a young kid that's growing. I think he's got good size. He's got good feels. Mike, what's up? Says salute. Dadier will be an elite defender. Yeah, I see signs. I don't know about elite, but yeah, I like what you're saying about the potential. I think the potential is there for Dadier. He just has to get stronger. He has to get tougher, and he has to read the game better as well. I did go back and watch the last 6 minutes of the Washington game. Small sample, but I really enjoy watching, the day after and going back and watching the film and just seeing, what these players do off the ball in a close game. And look, Johnny Davis did light the Knicks up late in the Washington game, but I didn't like a couple of the missed assignments that I saw from Kolek and from Dadier. So yeah, there is going to be some growing pains, man. Hopefully they prove me wrong, but I think there is going to be those growing pains with those guys. Veterans are going to attack them. There's no doubt about it. Those guys are going to, have to, man up. They're definitely going to have to man up early. But regarding Ariel Huck-Porty, I think he's the rookie that just you could slot in the most seamless, right? He doesn't need the ball, does all those junk intangibles that'll, don't show up on the box score, and some of them do. He rebounds tenaciously like Hartenstein. Some underrated rim protection. I think he did get a nice block against Washington as well. I think that guy Funk that tried to go shoot the go-ahead bucket, Ariel Huck-Porty did catch a piece of that, and that was a nice play. So he's made some good plays. He's fouled a little bit as well, but I think a couple of those were tough calls. But yeah, I like his footwork. I like his positioning. and I think Ariel Hukporti, is 50-50 to play, from opening night. Jericho, we know he's going to play, but if there's a 10-man rotation, I would play the big Huck, man. Throw him out there for 8 minutes, see what he's got. Against Boston, I just don't know what kind of matchup they're going to go with. I haven't seen Boston in preseason. Let me know, guys, if you have. I don't know if they go with Xavier Tillman. Do they go with Al Horford? They got Luke Cornett as well. Fresh says we need more young dogs. Well, we got one in waiting. Trust me that Kevin McCullough is a dog. He loves to defend. He gets after it. He's that top wing assignment defender from Kansas. A couple of seasons in college. I think he's seasoned well. Unfortunately, we just can't see him yet because he ain't healthy. When it comes to Kevin McCullough, man, we just haven't gotten many updates about him. But yeah, we ride. Opening night's going to be baptism by fire. It'd be nice to steal Lonnie Walker from Boston, and hopefully it's a case of he can give us a little bit of insight. But we'll wait and see. But Juan Soto's home run there. I enjoyed watching that, fam. But yeah, Ian Begley is also reporting that the former Archbishop Malloy star Moses Brown is going to join Westchester. So Travel Vibe Salute was asking earlier. So yeah, TJ Warren, Moses Brown. Brown got a lot of size, but I think there's a reason why he hasn't been able to stick. I think he probably needs more development, and hence why he's headed to Westchester with that one, fam. For those of you that missed it yesterday as well, with the New York Knicks only going 12 men, man, we are the only team in the NBA, man, with 3 available roster spots, right? If you can include the 15th guy, which we can't get to because of our financial situation, right? So that is why we're going to see a trade this season. Somebody will get traded, I think, to clear some extra space and hopefully allow us to add more depth, right? For example, right, let's say we were able to trade Mitchell Robinson and clear the 14 million and get back a couple of other players that would add more depth to the squad. Now it's up for debate whether or not you would do that move because you need to see who those players are going to be. Right, you need to see who is it for. Does Mitch look healthy and get back great and start playing well? And maybe you don't do that. But I just don't think it's wise, being at 14 roster spots. Right, it's tough. Postseason's going to be a grind, man. If we're suffering injuries right now, just imagine. Knock on wood right now. I'm knocking on wood. But just imagine when the players start playing harder and the games come thick and fast, minutes go up. Imagine, it's hard to imagine this team not sustaining injuries, and, having to overcome more of those obstacles, man. It's tough, right? I mean, our starting 5 ain't coming in with the most durable reputation either. And so rookies, step on up, fam. Baptism by fire, right? Whether you're a Hukporti, Hive, Kolek, Daddy 8, man, I feel like everyone's going to see time at some point this season, man. And it could go one way or the other, but I'll be here for the ride, man. I cannot wait, fam. We might be calling for Jake Toppin's name soon. Nick P says, I think Tibbs is going to play 9. We know the starters already. Deuce, Payne, Sims, Daddy as of now. Right, so you got what? Deuce, Payne, Sims, and Daddy. Yeah, so you're agreeing with me, man. I think that's what I'm guessing if it is a 9-man. But the good thing is, you could easily see Tibbs throwing Kolek out there or Hukporti. Right, but I do think he's just going to shrink bench minutes in order for the first game, just to overcome that tough, hostile environment, right? And just try to be more cohesive. See, there might be a lot of overreactions on opening night if Tibbs doesn't expand a rotation or if he trusts certain guy over the other guy. But I look at it from this perspective. On opening night, right? Yes, we've had a pretty average preseason and preparation. Opening night might be a good reason to just keep the bench rotation very tight just for that night, because you are on the road. It's a ring ceremony night. The starters are going to have to pull you out and pull out the win, right? If you're playing 10 or 11 guys, it's too much. It's going to get too messy, I feel. So Tibbs has got to make a call. I think it's going to be a tough call, but I think he's probably going to, go with the Deuce, Sims and Payne, and he's probably going to trust Dadier for like, I don't know, 6 minutes or something, man. Catch and shoot. Try to mirror. Try to mirror Dadier's minutes with Boston's bench, and so that he can survive. Boston's bench is solid, but it's not gonna kill you, man. It's not gonna kill you on that. Chris Connors says, yeah, Kevin looks legit. Was watching some of his highlights earlier. Yeah, we're all looking forward to seeing him in action, and one thing I did gather from watching the game again, the Washington finale, was that Kevin McCullough was really, into it, man. It was good to see. He was engaged on the bench. He was, speaking closely to OG Anunoby. I saw even in the timeout huddles, he was engaged. He was dapping up his teammates. He was smiling and laughing a lot. And so, yeah, he looks down for it. He looks like he's, hopefully getting closer to, to seeing some court time, or Westchester. I feel like they'll probably ease him back in via Westchester with that. But yeah, we talked about the report yesterday from Chris Prosiainen that there's optimism that Shamet can be available by January and recover from the dislocation in the shoulder. Right, that's very optimistic, but we'll wait and see, fam. The Knicks are clearly, waiting for something. They're waiting a couple of weeks to save some money, or they're waiting maybe to see if Landry makes more progression, and then they can, go other directions and sign somebody if they need. But let us know your thoughts on this. Old boy wants us to get draft picks back if Mitch is traded. Right, some extra picks back. Yeah, that could help us for future trades as well. Whatever helps get the salary down and ideally get us a bit more depth. I think that would be the aim in any Mitch trade. You'd hate to do it because I think Mitch, definitely has a place on this team with his rim protection and defense. But I think the better Precious looks, and he was looking great. And if Huck Porty shines during a tough spot, I think, that could help for the future as well. Dirty says prefer real players over draft picks. One more scoring wing and we good. Yeah, you could look at it that way. Yeah, definitely. Shay says, what is it with me and always talking about trading Mitch, bro? Well, yeah, man, if you're Mitch's brother or family member, you won't like it. But, it's a business at the end of the day. If you don't already know how close the Knicks are capped and in a tough spot, then you haven't been paying close enough attention in terms of that. It's not Mitch, the player, that I want traded. It's the salary situation and why the New York Knicks are in a tough spot, right? But yeah, some people don't like to hear about trades, but yeah, I just speak on what I think, the tea leaves are saying, right? It ain't me making stuff up. These are the tea leaves, fam. But yeah, I love Mitch's game. But right now, is he available? Do we know when he's going to be available? I think those are fair questions, to ask, right? These are fair questions to ask, man. We're losing bodies left, right, and center. And so, yeah, it's tough. But we'll see what happens, man. Chris says Mitch will only get traded if he gets injured again after he returns this season. Yeah, that could be something. That could be something, you know. I know the organization likes Mitch, but I mean, what does that mean? They like Dante and they traded Dante, right? If you had put a gun to my head and asked, you know, who will get traded first, Mitch or Dante, you know, everyone would have said Mitch, but Dante got traded. And so I don't think anyone's untouchable. Uh, Dirty says we are not getting a top flight center for Mitch, just get an inning eater for some bench scoring. Yeah, I don't expect us to get anything top flight. Um, and I don't expect us to get like a Clint Capella or someone like that, man. I don't expect us to go that high, too. So yeah, it's going to be tough to see how things play out. But when you're playing against Boston, that's a concern in terms of matchup wise with KP. I think he has got the better of Mitch a bit. But also, if you look at the other matchup against Philly, Mitch is the player that you need against a player like Philly, against a team like Philly. So it's tough. Uh, Ronald, what's up? Says it's going to be hard to beat Boston on Tuesday. I give us a puncher's chance, man. I think it's probably, I'm going to go 60-40. Man, I give us a great chance. I think opening night, everyone's going to be a little rusty. You know, Boston are going to have pressure. We just need to weather the storm early, fam. And, you know, I trust Tibbs' scouting. You know, they would have, they've had the set coach that would have watched every single Boston game, you know. Yeah, and don't discount the fact that with no Kristaps, you know, Boston are a very different team. He gives them like a completely different 5-out look, whereas I don't think Al Horford, you know, is close to the same level, and we should be trying to expose him. I feel. I think that's their weakness, man, the center spot right now. I appreciate that buzzer beater. Yeah, try to mix things up with the graphics. Let us know what you want to see. Dorkosaurus says, hopefully Knicks fans actually appreciate Precious now that he's gone. Yeah, I think Precious showed a lot this preseason, and I feel like he's a player that is still growing. And so, yeah, the appreciation is growing with him. And yeah, it was a tough blow, man. If we had Mitch and Precious to start the season, man, we wouldn't even be talking about Huck Porty or Sims minutes. I think that's a fact. Lemmy Live says Mitch is never available. I think I wouldn't say never, but I think yeah, it's tough to see him going through a full season just based on the track record. But look, if we can get him right at the right time of the season, and he'll be a huge X factor, no doubt about it. Dirty says we need Cat and Mikal to stop bricking from 3-point land. Yeah, I think those guys would have been in the gym a lot. I think practice today looked good. Those guys were getting after it, and so I think you know shooting on the road under pressure, right? It's basically no time to think about being in a funk. I think they're just going to have to let it fly, right? Uh, Let us know, guys, if you think there's going to be a lineup change as well. I think it's doubtful. I won't be shocked if Deuce does get in the starting five, but I don't see it happening in the first game. Right, maybe for one of the home games, we'll see. 8 pieces, if they traded Randall and Dante, they could trade anyone. I think I agree with that. That's a fair point. I think people underrate how significant the financial reasons are, right? Teams can trade players that they love and trade players that they don't want to trade. It's got to do with the finances first, right? Nothing personal, nothing to do with their name, nothing to do with their game. It could just be financial, right? I don't understand how that's hard to understand, right? If you're a GM, you're running a business, right? It's no different to running Starbucks or running a major organization like Amazon. You have to make financial decisions, right? And some of those decisions can be tough, you know? Uh, G-Man says having Mitch back healthy will be huge for the second half of the season and the playoffs. Right, yeah, hopefully much sooner than that. And that is the aim. I think January would be a great target for that. So we're having the Liberty tip off, man, in deciding game 5. Right, let's go. Salute. And we'll be able to definitely won't be on as long as the full game. But things are buzzing right now, guys. Smash that like button. Let us know your thoughts, questions, anything you disagree with. Right, I'm cool with it. I'll shout it out. Dorkosaurus says the rookies could step up and surprise Boston too. They have no real idea how they play. Yeah, young, youthful confidence. Although I don't expect them to play a ton of minutes, I think he's going to lean into the core 8. Right, like that means Deuce is going to see plenty of minutes with Cameron Payne, and Jericho Sims might see some solid 20 plus minutes, 18 plus minutes. And theoretically, that could be enough to just get you through opening night. But I do expect him to throw the 9th guy out there for a breather. And that could be Kolek, or that could be Dadier. Or Tibbs could just say, you know what, I haven't decided yet. Everyone stay ready. I'll see how the game is going. Right. Sometimes you have to rely on your feel, feel for the game. How is the game going? You can't just say before the game begins that, yeah, Dadier, I'm going to throw you out there. What if Cameron Payne is struggling, or we need a spark, in the backcourt? Then, you might need to go to Tyler Kolek. You might need to go him to be a steady hand. And so I don't think you can fully make up your mind until the game begins, and just kind of see how it goes. I would like that from Tibbs. He needs to improve his feel for the game, I think, in terms of how things are going. For example, like injury-wise, let's say Cat looks like he's breathing heavily and he's laboring out there, going up and down. Let's say there's a frantic 4-minute stretch where, we've allowed a 7-0 run and he looks like he's struggling a little bit. Call a timeout, make a change. Just give him a 1-minute breather, just to refresh himself, and take some rest. Dirty says it looks like OG added 10 pounds to his face this season. I actually think he's slimmed down a little in his upper body. But yeah, you mentioned that about the face. By the way, these are the media day photos, in case you're wondering. Outside of the Karl Anthony Towns one, that's just a Photoshop. We don't have his media day photos yet. But including Deuce Miles McBride, man, he came in with the bigger hair on opening night. On media day. Dorkosaurus says stars are aligning for Huck Porty, though. Could be better for the long run. Yeah, I do think there's that silver lining. Damn, guys getting enough minutes. Chris says, we have enough talent on the team, enough of the trade talk. Unless you guys are ready to see another Knicks star player get traded away, won't be something valuable for nothing. I think it might just be a more minor cap kind of related moves, because I really think we're in a tough spot, only being able to field 14 players. We'll see. Damien asked, do you see progress in Sims's game? No, and I don't necessarily see regression. I just see the same thing, and it's a very short sample, and I think he's going to get a great opportunity early. Yeah, we'll get to see. I think we'll definitely find out after 5 meaningful games. But I think what's helped him is you could argue that this is progression. I see that he's bulked up. He's bulked up, and he's rebounding pretty solid. So maybe that extra muscle, that weight, maybe being healthier is going to help him. Maybe that is the progression, fam. Either way, I'm not prepared for Precious to be out for too long. So ideally, if I'm Tibbs, I'm not playing Jericho Sims more than 12 minutes. If we're getting more of what we've seen. If we're getting some great play and he's stepped things up, yeah, the minutes might increase. But I appreciate the question. That's a good question. Dirty says Hart not being happy, being an afterthought with the first unit. I think it's going to take time. I think he's used to being on the ball a bit and just, fleshing out his skill set. But at the same time, I remind him and everyone of the goal. The goal is to win an NBA championship. It should be whatever's necessary just to get it done. See, everyone can't really, I don't think they have a legit reason to gripe because they all got paid. Everyone's not on a contract year. They've got security. Hart's got his, very handsome pay with his 18, 19 million. Mikal Bridges is a guy that's, hopeful to get an extension. But Brunson, OG, Cat, they got major extensions. And so I think, and I know it should be all about just winning that championship, and just doing whatever's necessary for these guys, I think guys are going to have to be flexible this season. We've got a lot of rookies and we've got a very shallow roster right now until guys get back healthier too. But we do have some wild cards. Those wild cards are Mitchell, Robinson. Those guys are Pacome Dadier, and those guys are Kevin McCullough, and some of the other rookies as well. Landry Shamet returning could also be a big wild card, I think. Yeah, it is tough to go from 15 a game scoring wise to getting very minimal shots. Which is why, actually, on that note, before I get to Abdul's question on the prediction of the first 10 ball games, right? This is what I want to see. This is great. I'm glad I saw this today. And this is what I spoke on last night before I even saw this. Jalen Brunson taking some ownership over some of the struggles of the other guys, right? You are the extension of the coach on the court. Whilst it might not fall on your shoulders, you have the power. You have some control over getting these guys back in their pockets and back in their groove. Ultimately, they have to hit the shots and they have to play better, but you can control how those guys look. And so Brunson today said, from my point of view, I feel like we need to be better as teammates to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're all giving each other confidence. Regardless, that starts with me. So yeah, hopefully those words go into actions. But it's great to hear that Brunson is looking, at being better to help these guys out. And do I want to hear Josh Hart saying I feel lost? No, but I love his honesty. We can all see it, but I feel like he should just be keeping things in the locker room, right? There's no these guys are brothers. All they have to do is speak, speak to each other, and I think just get on the same page. But ultimately, this is all a storm in a teacup for me. This is very minor because I think these guys are going to figure it out. And it's a very, very small sample size, I mean, 4 preseason games, that's not enough to get, too worked up, in my opinion. We're definitely going to find out how serious this is, but I don't think 4 preseason games is enough to get too worried because just like Summer League, there was a lot of reactions and overreactions that didn't carry over to preseason. Players got better. Pacome Dadier looked better. Ariel Huck-Porty even looked better, and Kolek looked better after Summer League. So there's a lot of things that can change, right? I think practice would have been good today. Let's see how they look on Tuesday, right? And with that said, Abdul asked prediction on our record for the first 10 ball games, right? Let's go. Let's get into it. So yeah, the games are on the screen in the bottom right. So let's go through, fam. So the first 4 games are there. Boston, let's start with the first 4 first, and then I'll go through the other 6. But Boston, Indiana, Cleveland, and Miami, fam. Look, ideally 3-1, fam, in that stretch. Ideally 3-1. Look, you could beat Boston, but if you're going to pick one, you probably say that one is the most likely to be an L, and then we bounce back in front of a raucous Madison Square Garden for the opening night for the New York Knicks at home. And then we beat Cleveland at home, and then we're feeling good, and then we go beat Miami on the road. So I'm going to be optimistic with that one and say we start 3-1, fam. I'm going to say we start 3-1 with that one, right? And then let me bring up the next part. Right, we got October. Let me bring up, yes, November and December on that one. Let's bring this baby up on the bigger screen. So yeah, here we go. And then a little road trip: Detroit, Houston, ATL, back home against Milwaukee, Indiana on the road, and then the first in-season tournament game carries over to a home game against Philly, fam. So win against Detroit. Houston, I think we'll win as well. ATL, I think we'll win. Maybe we drop one out of Milwaukee and Indiana out of that one. And then I think we beat Philly, fam. So what is that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, I'm gonna say we start, man, 8-2. Let us know your thoughts on that. It's optimism. Maybe I would definitely sign up for 7-3, but I'm gonna go 8-2. I think we'll start getting into a groove once we pick up those early wins, and we'll get it going. Let us know your thoughts on that. Ronald says the Knicks are not there yet, maybe after 20. Simon says, in a dream, I see us getting Jaren Jackson from Memphis. Yeah. I don't know what the plans for Leon Rose are, but I'm going to assume that he's just going to be patient now and wait and see how this all comes together. So yeah, regarding who replaces Precious, man, we talked about that for a good hour or so. Feel free to rewind and check that out. But basically on the screen is my guess. My guess, if there's a 9-man rotation, I feel like it's Sims 100% gets minutes. Obviously Deuce and Payne are the 7th and 6th men. And then I think he's going to lean towards Pacome Dadier, right, to give you that shooting, the little bit of extra size as well. Right, playing Deuce, Payne, and Tyler Kolek is going to be a little tricky unless you switch things up and get Hart active with that one as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Pacome Dadier has looked nice in the last 2 ball games, and I think you reward the kid. He's shooting the ball well with confidence. He knows a role. He can play within an offense off the ball. He plays well catch and shoot. He cuts. He drives well. He can finish above the rim. We know that Deuce and Campaign like to get active, and they can move the ball well as well. So I think that blends better. I think that balances better out. Basically, you got a point guard, you got a point guard shooting guard with Payne and Deuce. You've got Dadier, who could be a 2-3-4 guy, and then you've got a Jericho Sims coming off the bench for some hopefully minor minutes, to kind of spell the bigs a little bit as well. If there's a 10th guy, it's between Ariel Hukporti and Kolek, and I think it's going to be how the game is going, right? If Sims is struggling, foul trouble, he could go Hukporti. I won't be surprised. I think 50-50 on that one. If there's a need for Tyler Kolek and be a steady hand, I think there's a chance that he'll get in as well in that one. So yeah, it's a full 82 game season, guys. So let's get it. Great questions, great comments, guys. Appreciate it. You guys are rocking it out now. Loss one says first game win. Why not? Yes, sir. I like that. Let's shout that out, fam. First game, let's win. Us against the world. Let's crush Boston, fam. Let's crush them, man. Got the streets buzzing on that one. Yeah, I give us I think it's a 60-40 proposition. But yeah, the best thing about preseason is preseason's over, right? You don't want to linger on it. Players should just go in now and like this is the real deal. We got the cardio, we got the minutes up. Forget about the shooting percentages. This is all on the line, man. Boston are in the same position we are in. They're they're competing for the real deal. They've got more continuity, but no Kristaps, I think as well. So you can put some doubt in their mind when you go at them. I think, yeah, guys are going to have to step up for us to pull out a win like that. Buzzer, no one else has made any quotes about Hart's comments, to my knowledge, as well. So yeah, Brunson stepped up and he spoke on that. But yeah, I feel like the starting five, will get it together, man. They understand, right? It's not just all about Mikal Bridges too, because Karl Anthony Towns had a later training camp after getting traded, coming in, and I think he's obviously the biggest piece and the biggest new piece with the starting five as well. So I feel like getting him going is the most important thing, and working well with Brunson as the engine of the offense. And then I feel like Hart and Bridges just have to play off feel early. You know, there's no reason why they can't do what Daddy A is doing, which is just cut when you need. When Brunson drives, cut to the rim. Constant movement. Just keep moving yourself around. They'll find you in the corners. I think stick to the basics and hopefully get them in foul trouble. Uh, that is one of the positives that you guys are highlighted as well. And what I like from preseason is we're getting to the foul line and we are, converting at a good percentage at the free throw line as well. Man, all these guys can knock down their free throws. So yeah, let's see how they do getting to the foul line. New Lord says Cat at the 4 and Huck Porty or Sims at the 5 could be a look. I feel like that was more likely if Precious was healthy. I think there was a real chance Tibbs could look at Precious next to Cat, man. But yeah, for stretches, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Maybe you play Cat with some bench lineups as well, and you get to see him at the 4 next to Huck Porty or Sims on that one. Yeah, look, Pacome Daddy had some pro experience, man, in France and in Germany. So yeah, people talk about his age, but it's a case of some of these kids, man, they mature real quick, and they get ready sooner than other players. It just depends. I think he's a more mature body. I think Kevin Knox, remember when he came into the league, he was super scrawny, had the jump shot as well, but struggled through contact, struggled getting to the rack. Was still growing into his body early. He was very lanky at 6'9", 6'10". Well, was Kevin Knox. Pacome Daddy has a little bit more experience coming in playing pro ball. I think he's put on a little bit of weight from what I noticed against the Washington game. Still skinny for an NBA player, but I think it helps if he puts on a bit more muscle. Coach says Pac-Man is the easiest player to add to the starting lineup. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance, but I don't think it's as likely. But yeah, man, I think at some point, I think I could see that. I think it won't happen though for opening night. But yeah, Pacome Daddy can put the ball on the floor. He can spot up. He can shoot. He can cut well. Yeah, he can really work with a lot of players, fam, as well. DN says I'm shook. Let us know, man. Let us know about what you feel the worst about. I don't know about the pressure situation. I don't think it's going to be that long, too. So we've got the Mets in action. What's good with them? Dirty Dancer's hyped about the Mets. I'm hyped about the Yankees World Series. Hopefully this is the start of something great for the New York Knicks and our season. So yeah, in terms of losing Shamet and Dante, this ain't the finished roster, fam. So I'm keeping an open mind. The Knicks will add some talent, right? They'll add in terms of they can sign free agents, right? I'm talking about either Marcus Morris, Lonnie Walker, getting Shamet back. I think that'll change the bench look a lot more, fam. But yeah, the silver lining is if Dadier, Kolek, and Hukporty can get minutes early in the season, I think that's great for the future. I think that's better that they're tested before the postseason and all of that, and we get to find out what they got. Also, don't forget that they're going to play a lot of Westchester. They will play some Westchester games as well. Well, maybe not a lot, but they will get some time, I think, in Westchester, and that is going to help them out a lot. They're going to be able to play a lot more free, and they're going to be a kind of player that can be the go-to guy, I think, in Westchester. And they're going to be able to play with some OGs like TJ Warren, some other seasoned young players like Moses Brown as well. Yeah, Giles, the Knicks need to work on some chemistry because there's two major new pieces. Dante being in the starting five was a guy that bailed the Knicks out a lot. I mean, he was just the perfect player that could just play off Brunson, catch and shoot. Don't even need the ball for a second, and he could let it fly. And so I think there's an adjustment period with that, absolutely. And so far, Mikal Bridges, he's my X factor. I said this before preseason began, and it's going to take time, but he has to find a rhythm, and we need his shooting badly to work well with the other guys. And I feel like he'll get it. I feel like he'll get there. Dorkosaurus says, how close and tense were the NBL finals that Hukporty played in? Great question, fam. They were super, super close. The first finals that he was in, that he won, was a close one. But the past season that just finished, they lost in the deciding game. So it came down to the wire, and I feel like Hukporty was a major piece of their rotation. That's why we see a player that's looking more ready, I think, to play meaningful minutes. But yeah, it's still going to be the usual rookie, usual rookie follies. He might get into foul trouble a little bit, and he might, miss a rotation, things like that. But he's going to give you more than I think what he takes away. I think his energy is contagious. And we really need his physicality. His rebounding is significant as well. He could hurt you on the glass too, which I know Tibbs is going to love. Cat at the four, a four-timer. Yeah, four-time All-Star. And Randall was a three-time All-Star. Right. So yeah, people are still debating the trade, man. Ultimately, man, I move forward with the trade, right? If the Knicks don't get it done, there'll be plenty of time to critique. But right now, the season hasn't even begun. So if anyone can say that it's a good move or a bad move, that, you're just speculating. And yes, certain fans have a bigger affinity to certain players and their games, right? Part of being a fan is appreciating what a player brings, and that's why fans have feelings and are either divided or upset at losing a player. But ultimately, the mission and the goal of the ball club is to win a championship. You have to make moves. Not all the players are going to stay on your club and retire a New York Knick. So for me, there's kind of no room for sentiment. The Knicks, you could, like I said, you can get sentimental about it, but yeah, certain players aren't going to be on your ball club. I think there was a great comment about, I think it was made by Keith Smith. I think maybe it was made by Keith Smith, who covers the NBA for Spotrac and is a big Celtics fan. But basically, what that person said was, the Boston Celtics traded Marcus Smart. Man, he was basically a lifer with the ball club. It was unfathomable to see, if you're a Boston fan, to see them trade Marcus Smart. And everyone thought it made the ball club worse. Fast forward to 12 months, and they lift the NBA trophy, right? And then no one was really worried about losing Marcus Smart. And so I think that's a good lesson to look at as well, right? There's going to be some divide. But yeah, let's see how this thing plays out, man. Like I said, there'll be plenty of time, to dive in if things aren't looking great, and really get stuck into the moves further. But yeah, on the eve of the season, man, it's all positive vibes from me. I think, yes, we've been dealt a shorthand with some of the decisions and the injuries right now, but I'm excited to see who's going to step up, right? See, these players are for the future that we see on the screen, right? Pacome Dadier is on a 4-year rookie contract. Kolek as well, assuming Hukpority is going to stick for a while. And, it bodes well for the New York Knicks if these guys can step up and be big time for us. So with that said, man, I've covered everything. Now let's enjoy the rest of our Sunday night as well. Enjoy some of the sports going on. Appreciate everyone for rocking with us and giving their takes, speaking their piece on this situation, man. I think the Knicks will go 8-2 to start the season, man. Abdul asked me, let's get it. I think that'll be a really great start to the season, given how many tough games there are. But you take each game at a time, fam, as well, right? Big boost if we can beat Boston on opening night, but I'm not expecting it, man. I'm not going to come on post game and be heated unless we lose a heartbreaker. As long as I see a good effort, I see good, better ball movement, good shooting, right, and positive signs, I think the Knicks will get it together after the Boston game if we lose. But I think we've got a great chance. Let's see how it all plays out, fam. Let's get it on the next one. Like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it, Shay, Paula, Giles, New Lord, Dorkosaurus, everyone else joining us tonight. Buzzer Beater with the super chat, appreciate it. And apologies I couldn't bring up the shot charts for Mikal Bridges, but I will get to that. Loz1 as well, DN, Coach, and apologies if I'm missing anyone else. Guys, enjoy the rest of the weekend. And you know what tomorrow means, man? It's a new week. The start of the NBA season is upon us, fam. How crazy is the opening night at MSG going to be, fam? The reception against Indiana is going to be off the charts, right? This starting five, the team is going to be under a big spotlight, right? But I can't wait. I can't wait for it. Obviously, I think it's a good test to play Boston first, play away, see how we stack up, and then come pull out the win on opening night at MSG, home opener against Indiana, man. Revenge night, right? The NBA fixture or calendar makers weren't messing around when they gave us who they gave us in the first 4 games, man. It was by no accident, too. Let's hope. Of all things, man, this season, I hope for good health, man. I'm praying for good health. Send out positive vibes, man. Because this season, health matters, man. Last season hurt us a lot, Health derailed our playoffs, right? This season, we need good health, right? And so let's see what happens. And Leon Rose, see if he can maybe add a couple of extra pieces to see how this thing all comes together late, right? But Tom Thibodeau, he's been around for a minute, man. Hopefully he learns a couple of things from the past when it comes to that, right? But yeah, Deuce McBride could be a favorite for 6-man, right? I feel like he's most likely to stay in that role, but big expectations for Tyler Kolek, Cameron Payne, and these other rookies as well, maybe giving us that extra spark off the bench. I can still see Hart, staying as that starter with the starting unit. But all eyes will be on Mikal Bridges, man. If he has a great shooting night, things will be put to bed with the jump shot, right? If he struggles opening night, there's going to be more, commentary around the shot and all that. So I think he's getting ready. He's getting busy in the gym right now, getting up a million jump shots. So hopefully, man, he comes out and reminds everybody why he's a flamethrower and comes out and shoots hopefully a 40% from deep, right? And Brunson speaks with his actions, like he said, and gets these guys going. Without further ado, peace, everyone. Let's go.